Good morning. This video is all about competition for FHA loans. So I'm going to be reviewing a couple of statistics so that you can see that right here. You're going to be able to see that I use very specific items. For example, I limited the house. And why am I limiting this? There's so many homes that have sold on MLS and with different loans that if I try to grab all of the homes in Tucson, it's going to take forever to download the statistics. Here is why. There's so many pages that I actually, so if I limit it to the homes that I have limited to, as you can see right here where my head is, actually, if you look right here at total listings, I got 112. So let's go back to the original page. So I got 112 because I limited everything to only using closed homes, obviously, that sold in between February and today. I didn't select an area, but I did select price between 200 and 300,000 because it seems like the average is somewhere between 250 and 280,000. And the bedroom, because the most typical is a 3-bedroom and a 2-bathroom. That's the most typical want. And then we've got the single family residence. That's the most typical that most people want to go to. And it has to be of existing construction. And right now, because of the needs and wants of my buyers, I only selected homes that were built between 1949 and 1979. And why am I doing this? Why am I limiting it to that specific year? It is because most of the flips that you're going to find on the east side that have the brand new tile and the brand new flooring and all that stuff tends to be that age. I've noticed this a lot recently, and I visited a lot of properties based on my clients' needs and wants and likes. Basically, they want move-in ready, and they do like the stuff that is um wanted by a lot of people right now, which is, the gray color and the wood type glue, the nice backsplash, the newer cabinets, which is the white and the gray. So that's what we're seeing. This is the age of the homes that I'm seeing remodeled. I do see a couple of upgrades on other homes that are the newer wood frame. However, they don't go all out the way that they do with these older homes. So that's why I'm selecting that. And the only reason why I'm also doing that is because I need to narrow down my search so that I don't have too many comps. Right now, we're just trying to crunch numbers. And I'm looking for sales that were actual FHA sales. All right. So let's dive into this. When I pulled all of them, right here, you're going to see that they were VA. I've got cash sales. Right here, I've got conventional sales right there. So look at this. So look at this right here. And then I've got FHA sales. And then I got the overall, okay, which is the 112. Okay, so this list, I'm gonna close out of all of this flex stuff so that I don't confuse you. These were comps that I was pulling yesterday as I was placing offers. So basically, when I limit my search to the parameters that I'm talking about, this is my list, 112,000. Okay, so what I wanted to do is I wanted to show my clients is, okay, I keep hearing from agents that people are putting offers 20, 30, whatever amount, thousand over asking price. And when I pull my comparables for a lot of those listings, they seem overpriced. And I get it. It is a seller's market. It is a hot market. But at the end of the day, anybody that is financing the property, me as an agent, I also want to protect my buyer from getting into trouble, and I want to protect my buyer from paying for inspections and paying for an appraisal, and at the end of the day, the seller refusing to lower the price to appraisal value. That's what I'm looking at. I know that appraisals tend to stay with the house, but we also have stubborn sellers right now. And we also have plenty of conventional buyers that have the 20% down, that the appraisal would not necessarily affect that much. They can do a little bit more down, or they have the cash to pay the difference. We've got all types of buyers currently in this market. So what I wanted to see is I wanted to make that comparison. If you look at this long list of items, you can see up here, the list price, the sold price, and how it's sold right here. Okay. So when you look at the list price and the sold price and how it's sold, you can see that there is a lot more preference for the conventional loan. And why is that the case? As a listing agent, I tend to prefer the conventional loan over the FHA loan because there are a lot less obstacles when it comes to the appraisal. And number two, you need to have better credit and or a higher down payment to be able to qualify for the conventional loan, which obviously means that there's a little bit more financial security or a little bit more funds or something of the sort, right? So um, if it is the general consensus, I believe that a lot of agents are also preferring cash or conventional. I'm a little bit wary with cash offers at the current moment because I've seen people place a cash offer and then they flip it to a loan, or they sell it to somebody else, or whatever it may be. So I'm a little bit wary of cash offers right now. And the one other thing about cash offers is that sometimes they do tend to be lower than asking price, because usually people that have cash, it's not always the case, but a lot of people that are actually paying cash, they are actual investors. So obviously, investors always try to buy below market value. So going back to this list of 112, when you could start making these comparisons, for example, you start seeing list price 280, it sold for lower. List price 225, it sold for lower. List price, it sold at value, that the at asking value. And then you got list price 220, it sold at 205. Okay, so this was overpriced, obviously. What type of loan? It doesn't it was an exchange. 2003, 2003, 255, 250, $5,000 less. It was a conventional loan, so a little bit more strength when it comes to the buyer. 240, 230. And if you're a lender and you're watching this, please correct me if I'm wrong. Put it down on the comments. I want to see what the lender input is. 240, 233. This was a VA. 279, 279 VA. So that was a wash. 243, 246 FHA. So as you can see, the FHA is already higher. Why? It might have been that they needed seller concessions. To 20 to 200, $20,000 less than asking price. FHA. Okay. So they got lucky on this. This house probably did not appraise. 205, 210 conventional loan, 280, 278 conventional loan, 260, 260 FHA loan. That was a wash. 260, 270 conventional loan, 210, 220 FHA. That's $10,000 more than asking price. 225, 225 conventional, 235, 224 lower. And this was cash. As you can see, cash buyers are not always the best buyer, because at the end of the day, they're always going to do their inspections and they're always going to try to knock you down, especially if it is an investor. I mean, unless it's somebody that sold their estate in California and actually wants to live in the property, then we're talking about a real buyer. 229, to 235. This is conventional. So I'm seeing, as far as we've gotten down, I'm seeing an average of 5 to 10,000 over, not necessarily the 20 to 30,000. So I'm not quite sure why listing agents are still um, listing it really, really high, because I don't know if they're taking into consideration that appraisal. Maybe their hopes is that they're going to get that cash buyer. So list price was 189, ended up selling at 205. 205, that's an FHA. Very likely or very probably they did have a closing, they did request closing costs. 225 FHA, another wash. 209, 205 conventional, that one was lower. 215 wash conventional. um so on and so forth. I don't want to make this video too long, so I'm gonna hop onto, um, instead of reading this entire list, I'm gonna go to what is important to my current clients, which is they do have an FHA loan. So from the 122 properties that I found that closed in February, when you look at this list, the ones that actually sold for an FHA loan were 36. Okay, so when I go to the ones that actually sold for a conventional loan, we're going to see that this list is a lot higher, which is 64. Okay, so you can see the preference in sellers right now wanting that conventional loan. So total listings 24, and these are cash sales. So people prefer the conventional loan over the cash sale. And then we've got VA loans. 16 VA loans were accepted. Right now, veterans are really, really being ignored. So if you are a seller looking at this video and you are a veteran, give me a call. We need to give more veterans opportunities because they serve our country and they are completely being ignored right now because of the fact that they don't have to do any money down. They can have lower credit, so on and so forth. But there's a lot of VA loans. And I just actually sold a house that was a VA loan. And the appraisal actually comes back a lot faster. So let's give them an opportunity. Um, a lot of people don't want to give them an opportunity because they assume that they have to pay the seller concessions. That is not the case. A lot of veterans right now can actually pay their own closing costs and their own down payment. So let's give more people an opportunity. Um, and we're back at the map. So I'm going back to the FHA. Um, where is my FHA list? Conventional. Okay. So because this is what is important to my clients currently, because I want to show what we have to strategize on when it comes to placing our offers. Okay, so now that we look at this list, I want to see if I can find an average of difference between asking price, which is right here, the list price, and the sold price. Okay, so the asking price, let me see if I can move all this all the way down. Sorry, my face keeps trying to get in the way. Okay, so the asking price, 225, 220, $5,000 difference. This was a wash. This was a $3,000 difference. This was a $20,000 difference in the buyer's favor. This was a wash. The buyer had to pay $10,000 more. This one around 5,000 wash. This one they paid $4,900 less. On this one, you can see that they paid a lot more for it. And we're going to look at photographs a little bit later. So this one, they paid less. Wash, 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 wash. So I'm getting the feeling that, when placing offers, agents are actually placing offers above and beyond. But at the time of appraisal, maybe that's when the real negotiation starts, is when the seller has to lower the price. So this one ended up paying more, less, less, more, 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 wash, more, wash, more, 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 less, wash, less, more. Sorry, I'm not wearing my glasses. More, wash, less. So you can see, I mean, you can tell that some people actually ended up paying less, some people actually ended up paying more, but at the end of the day, in my opinion, it's not true that people are asking 20 to $30,000 above list price. They are actually offering 20 to $30,000 above um market value. And that is just my opinion. So, and I do not see anything that's going above 10,000. Um, Correct me if I'm wrong if you're watching this video. So, I don't see anything that's going above the $10,000 mark. So, when we strategize about this, if you are currently working with me and you feel comfortable offering the $10,000 more than asking, we've got 3 opportunities to cancel and walk away with your earnest money. However, you can get your earnest money, but what you will not get back is the amount that you spend on inspections and the amount that you spend on the appraisal if the seller refuses to lower the price. And I have had sellers refused to lower the price to appraisal value. And at the end of the day, the buyers ended up canceling. They lost their inspection money, they lost time, they lost their appraisal money, and obviously they lost hope for, their situation. So, are you willing to risk? That is my question to you. Are you willing to risk that happening to you if you do place an offer $10,000 above listing? So when I pull my comps, I'm looking at a lot of different situations. As you can see, I'm going to pull this up. There are a lot of different types of subdivisions. Subdivision is neighborhood. So when you look at a map, for example, if I try to zoom into something, as you can see, there's different types of neighborhoods or different types of communities: Harlan Heights, Alvernon Heights, Broadway Northeast, Corbett. But then if you zoom to a micro level and I turn on my overlays, and you can see actual subdivisions, Del Monte Village, Loma Linda Estates, so on and so forth. So as you can see, like in my map, I can see a couple of clusters. So if I go into a larger subdivision, usually I can find comparables within that same subdivision. And what appraisers do is usually, depending on the area, if I zoom all the way out and the appraiser has a house that's out here, they're going to go out for a 2 mile radius to try to find comparables. They might even go out to a 5 mile because it's a very rural area. But if you're in central Tucson, the appraiser is going to try to stay within half a mile to a mile. Maybe even 2 miles if it is like a custom home that is really, really, really unique. They might go out. However, a lot of agents are pricing their house based on a 2 mile, 5 mile radius when there are a lot of similar properties within the vicinity inside of a half a mile radius. So that's what the appraiser is going to see. And at the end of the day, the listing agent is going to have to fight that for it to appraise. So here's what I'm trying to avoid when I make my suggestions as to what to offer. Okay, so that's the way that I pull my comps. But at the end of the day, here is my suggestion. Let's start making those offers. Obviously, if I see that the market value, if I pull comps for a house, I'll just do this one, for example. If I pull comps for that house, I definitely need to see what I believe is the median price range, which is market price. not listing price, because I mean, I know listing price is really important right now, but if you can see this burrito side acres, I don't think that there's going to be a lot of comparables. So I'm going to have to go outside of the subdivision to find a similar property. And as you can see, you've got Winter Haven. If you know Tucson, like a real estate agent knows, we know the different types of neighborhoods, what is very popular, what's not very popular. Winter Haven, for example, is very well known for its Christmas lights and its lush landscaping. You know, it looks like a different city, to be honest with you. So it is very popular. It does have an HOA. So there's a lot of things that we know that you might not know if you don't do this on a regular basis. But anyways, that is all actually included there. So I would have to go into the house to see the size. I would have to go in to see the age. Well, my age is actually selected. But at the end of the day, when I pull comps within this 5 mile radius, it's going to give me, because mm, I already have a lot of things set up. So I'm going to pull a comparable for that 5 mile radius, as you can see right here, 0.5 mile. And it's going to give me a median price per square foot. And it's going to give me an average price per square foot. And it's going to give me the days on the market, which is 20 days on the market. Why? Maybe there's a lot of homes that are a lot more expensive, but we have the average price in that area for the home that we were looking at. The lowest price of a home sold, 200, high price 300, because I limited it to that, and the median 226. Okay, so if I determine that the house that I wanted to comp is somewhere around here, for example, the median and the average is closer to asking price, what I'm suggesting that you do is to grab the average. Wait, let me see. Yeah, I would grab the average, add five to $10,000, whichever is closer to asking price, and then make that offer. Hopefully, it ends up being above asking price. You just never know. I hope that that didn't confuse you, but basically, what I'm trying to say is that even though everybody's saying offer a lot more, they're not all selling for a lot more, so there is a little bit of risk involved. Do you want to take that risk? Are you really, really desperate right now? So let's look at the pictures. This video, by the way, is now 22 minutes. If you are looking at it on YouTube, you can always do like the fast squirrely thingy, squiggly thingy. So all type of, and this is why there's a lot of popularity with these types of homes, is because a lot of them have been remodeled with a nice new white kitchen and tile floor. So I'm just gonna try to scroll through a couple of these. See, a lot of these have the nice tile floor plus newer cabinetry. I want to see if I can see one with a picture that looks like it's recently been flipped. So right now, my list that I'm showing that is FHA properties. Oh, I love this one. I love that house. See, and some of them don't necessarily have too many flips, but they have the newer carpet, the new paint. Basically, they've been prepared for uh, getting those better offers. Some of them have not even gotten anything done. But at the end of the day, if you look at this, new appliances, new backsplash, new granite, new cabinetry. So this is what a lot of people are finding very attractive, and this is why these homes are pretty competitive. New floors, you know, everything looks brand new. The yards look landscape. They get the paint color on the outside. So when I look at the detail, if I scroll all the way down, this one sold FHA. The listing price was 289. This one sold for 299. Okay, so this buyer offered this much more for the flipped house. Okay, and it sold for more, which means that it actually appraised, or if it didn't appraise, the buyer was able to, well, actually, no, because right here, when I see seller concessions, that means that the buyer needed money to be able to qualify for the loan. So at the end of the day, they paid more so that they can get those concessions. Okay. Um, let's look at a couple other ones. I've got another one right here that looks like a flip from the first picture. So some parts are renovated, some other parts are not. This is not like an actual flip. I think that they did a little bit of the work as they lived on the property. That looks like vinyl. So when I look at the details, the list price was 200, it sold for 200. They did pay seller concessions, so the reality is that um they didn't necessarily accept 200. They accepted a little bit less because they actually accepted something with seller concessions, and this one stayed on the market for 36 days. So the seller, because they didn't get the offer, the type of offer that they wanted, you can see that the original price was 205,000. Because they didn't get the offer for 205,000, they ended up accepting the offer for 200,000 and paying for seller concessions. Let's see if I can find a couple more that were actually flipped. This one looks like it has upgrades, however, it doesn't look like it was a new flip, and we'll see a lot of those. So the seller paid $2,500 in concession, and they paid $3,000 in repairs. So they sold it for $256. The asking price was $260,000, and they stayed at their original price, but it did sell in 5 days. So, for the purposes of reducing this video, I'm not going to continue looking at pictures. I'm just going to continue looking at the detail as to how many seller concessions were paid. For example, on this one, there were no seller concessions paid, but they did pay $1,000 in repairs. Um, the original listing price was 225,000. It did sell at 230,000. Again, this was an FHA loan that required a little bit of repair, so we got a little bit of a stubborn seller. Original original listing price 234,000. It sold for 227,000, but the seller paid $5,200 in concessions. Original asking 220,000, and it sold for 220,000, but they did pay $5,000. So we're seeing, I'm seeing a little bit of both, and the reason why they probably decided to pay those $5,000 is because it was on the market for 16 days. Alrighty, so I'm going to cut this video short because it's approaching half an hour, but this is a little bit of information that can give you an idea of what we need to do to get that offer accepted. All right, if you have any questions, shoot me a text, shoot me an email. Thank you. Hasta la vista.